Welcome to Clienting, your place to get information about legal marketing and client development. This is Kelly Street, Marketing Director for Attorney Sync.
And this is Gyi Sakalakis, one of the founders of Attorney Sync.
I am so excited about our guest today.
I am too.
We get to chat with Nicole Abboud about lawyers using video. So I look to Nicole as kind of the expert in legal marketing videos, kind of content marketing, and getting your message out. She has a great podcast called Leaders Love Company that I have listened to for kind of different little messaging, different kind of building up who you are and who your company is. But one of her most recent episodes focused on video marketing and 5 ways you can get your message across using video. So, Nicole, why should lawyers use video? What are they going to get out of it?
Yeah, that's definitely a very important question, a good one to start with. So I think that recognizing that consumers are turning online, they're going to social media to find answers to their legal problems, just to find out more about what's happening in their lives legally or some situation that they're going through. It's important to recognize that that's where their attention is shifting. So first, recognizing that lawyers need to be online in some form. So they need to exist, have some kind of marketing presence online is the most important thing. So starting there, we then turn to, okay, so how are we going to reach them? We know they're online. We know they're searching for answers. So what's the best way to strike up a conversation or to start building a relationship with these potential clients of ours that are online? And so the answer becomes content marketing. So creating content to drive awareness to yourself, to your brand, your firm. So there are a few different types of content marketing, and I know we're focusing on video. So video is one of the most powerful ways to build a relationship and start a conversation with these people who are online searching for answers, because you're showing your face. You're using your voice to talk about a legal matter, to explain who you are, to explain what you do. Probably the most important of them all, to provide value and answers to these consumers who are online searching for answers. So video is powerful because that is just the new way of communicating, the new way of building relationships with people online.
So I love the way that you framed that, because one of the things that I know some people, some lawyers that are listening, they hear lawyers use video and they immediately think, okay, great, I just take my TV commercials and put them online. That's not what you're talking about here at all.
No, we are definitely not talking about that. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that when I speak to lawyers and present on this topic of video, that is where their minds go. And I think it's because we've just grown up being accustomed to seeing TV commercials of lawyers, and we don't really see them elsewhere. So that's where our mind goes. We think, oh, video, it must be one of those ads where the only question the lawyer is asking is, have you been injured? And then they throw up a whole bunch of just numbers and contact information. But that is so far from how video should work, or how it does work, or what effective videos look like nowadays.
So not, I've been practicing for 500 years and I'm really aggressive, call me for a free consultation.
Yeah. And you know what? We can't really blame lawyers, because that's all they've seen in terms of advertising, and that's how they've been taught, or maybe that's how they learned it. So now it's time to unlearn all that and recognize what people are really looking for, what they answer to now online, what they respond to, I should say. So advertising, no one really wants to be advertised to, right? They, as a consumer, as a potential client, for them, they want to get to know the person that they are potentially going to hire. So in order to reach them, it's not a matter of, let me just shove this ad in your face, or let me put out an ad one time, say how great I am, and all of a sudden they're going to hire me. Now it's more of what value are you bringing, are you creating in their lives, which usually translates into how helpful are you before they even need your help, before they know that they are going to call and hire you. And it's really shifting your mindset from being focused on you and creating posts or advertising that's just focused about you and telling the potential client how great you are as a lawyer, shifting it to a more client-centric approach. So it's more of what would attract this client to hire you? What is something they're going through in their lives that you can help them with? How can you be the most helpful, again, before they hire you? So it's really thinking about them first, incorporating that into your advertising or into your marketing or any kind of presence that you have online.
I should probably look this up after we record, but right now I wish I knew the statistic for what the average length of time is that people will search online or ask questions online about a legal subject before they contact a lawyer. Because I think that's one important thing to keep in mind with what you're talking about, Nicole, is that we know that people are searching for the answer to their question before they contact a lawyer. And so you need to be there answering those questions.
Yeah. And it's just, there's just so much noise out there. And I think you go on Facebook and there's an ad. On Instagram, there are ads. There's just ads everywhere. So I think that's not to say lawyers shouldn't put out ads, but now it becomes a matter of how are you going to craft yours in a way that doesn't sound or look like an ad, but more of let me join in on this conversation that you are already having in your head and let me answer your question before you call me.
So when it comes to doing video and getting those things out there, how often do you suggest to your clients and your lawyers that you work with that they're putting new videos or creating more content to get out on their social media or on their website?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is one that I get asked pretty often because after I get through the hurdle of convincing the lawyers that this is important, content marketing is the way to go, then it's a matter of, okay, so how often should I do it? So to be honest, you really do have to show up online every day. Now, does that mean you have to post a video every day? No, not at all. I think that in terms of frequency, once a week, if you're going to create something like a blog or a video or a podcast, that is sufficient. Once a week is pretty good. But when I say every day, I mean there should be some form of contact or your brand should appear every day somewhere. So on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on your website, the blog on your website. So there should be some point of contact that you're making every day online somewhere. So now with that said, that doesn't mean that you're actually literally doing it all the time. So there are some tools that help you automate some posts. If you foresee a busy week ahead, you can schedule out some posts to go out when you're busy and you don't have to do it yourself. But I really do think that there's value in you engaging with your followers on social media or online every single day.
That's great. One thing that you mentioned in that Leaders Love Company episode that I brought up is a different form of video that I've seen. I've had people send these to me, but that I haven't used. I think mostly because I'm just not quite sure how to incorporate it. And that is email video. So kind of sending people a video instead of necessarily a typed out email message. How does that work and how can lawyers use that particular form of video?
So email videos are pretty fun because like you said, they are a little bit different than just receiving, or from a recipient's perspective, it's different than just receiving a text-based email, which is what we usually do. So using video to kind of change up your emails a little bit, drop a little surprise in someone's email inbox is always great. And the way that I've used this in the past is I actually, after going to a networking event, a conference, or maybe even meeting with a potential client through a consultation, I usually follow up by sending them a little video that I record and send it through email. But in this video, I'm usually just saying, assuming it's after a networking event, I'm usually saying something like, it was great meeting you last night at the so-and-so mixer. I loved hearing about your kid's soccer game and I hope we stay in touch. And of course, this is for someone who I hope to continue a relationship or build a relationship with. But sending just a little video message where you're able to show your face again, remind them who you were, because they probably met a lot of people that night. And just personalizing that interaction goes a long way. So I have used a service called BombBomb before. So that's spelled BOMB. And it allows you to record a video, send it within an email. So it embeds it in the email itself. And when the person receives it, they can just play it directly in their email. It doesn't open another chat room or anything. And it even allows them to send a video message back, which is kind of cool because it encourages them to use video as well and interact with you that way.
Oh, that's super fun. I didn't know that they could also send a reply. That's really cool. Getting people more comfortable with it.
Especially if they see your face first. And you know, from a client's perspective, so if you're meeting with potential clients or you're going through consultations, following up with them through a video email instead of just the typical email that many lawyers send, that's also really, I mean, that's a surprise. Like I said, they don't expect it. And it's It's just another way to show that you care enough to take the time to record a quick video, just like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, nothing too long, and then send it off to them after you've met with them for the first time.
I love that. So going back to the kind of more marketing video side of things, I know for me in getting started with doing videos, I've done them personally or professionally for a lot of years, but I still get a little butterfly in the pit of my stomach. And so I can only imagine what it's like for lawyers who are just starting out and creating that first video. So do you have any tips for how to kind of get over that or get started or just be able to hit post on that very first video?
Yeah, I definitely have some tips. So I think one of the most important pieces of advice I can share with those who are just getting started on video, and I know that it's not natural, it doesn't come naturally to us, to a lot of people really. So understand that you're not alone. But I think the best thing you can remember is to try to just be in your element as much as you can, whatever that means. So you don't have to be in your office when you're recording if that's not where you feel comfortable. So if you prefer sitting on a couch in your living room because that's just where you feel in your zone, you feel creative, you feel like you can really just be yourself, then record there, start there. So I think that's the first thing. Be in your element, whether it's the location or what you're wearing, feel comfortable because that definitely helps. Another thing is just keeping in mind that the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And I know that's kind of counterintuitive because how do you even get started if you're not comfortable? But just start. No one's saying you have to publish it right away, right? You can record something, go back and watch it, and then give yourself some feedback as to what went well, what didn't, and then do another one, and then maybe even do a third one. And then eventually you just get a little bit more, you ease up on critiquing yourself too harshly, and then you just post it. But also being prepared. I think that's probably that goes towards helping you feel comfortable in front of the camera when you know what you want to say. So being prepared can look like a lot of different things. So some people prefer to write out scripts because they just want to know exactly what they're talking about. They don't want to go off script. So they write it out and maybe use a teleprompter or a piece of paper, who knows?
Yes, I'm in that boat. That's how I get started with videos.
Yeah. And that's okay. I think as long as it doesn't become obvious that you are reading, if you're able to still show some personality while you're reading the script, I think that's fine if that's what you need. For other people, it's a matter of just writing out a few bullet points, having them in front of them while they're recording, and knowing how they're going to start and how they're going to end the video. Because in between, I'm sure lawyers can talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about. They're the experts, but know how to start because you want to start off with a punch. You want to make sure that you are hooking people from the beginning. So give that some thought. But yeah, those are really the big tips that I would think of to get lawyers to get comfortable in front of the camera.
I love that. Those are awesome tips. So you also talk about intro videos beyond just the email saying hello through there. It was nice to meet you, but in a little, this is who I am. I think about those kinds of videos as going on a person's or a lawyer's bio page on their website. But can you share what your insights are into what should be in your introduction video?
So there are, in my mind, at least two different types of intro videos that you can use. So one would go on your bio page. So your attorney profile page. Since this page is predominantly about you as the lawyer, I like to make these videos that you're going to have on there, maybe like 15, 30 seconds, maybe a minute long. And what you're really doing is sharing some kind of interesting fact about you, some tidbit, like why you decided to become a lawyer or a client matter that really resonated with you, really changed your opinion on things, or something that really shapes who you are as a person. And they're just really fun because a potential client who's reading through your bio can see more than just where you went to school or what jurisdictions you're admitted into. They can just learn more about you, the person. So that's kind of one little type of introduction video. And then another one is the kind that goes on your homepage. I refer to it as a branded or welcome video. And this type of intro video is meant to, as the name implies, introduce your firm. But the real secret to a good intro video is that it's not really about the firm directly. So sure, you can talk about what practice areas you're in and what you practice and who your associates are if you happen to have a firm with associates, and maybe even introduce your staff if you want to. But the real secret or the tip that really makes these videos so effective, the videos that go on your homepage, is that you're really telling the story of what a client might experience or will experience if they hire you, if they retain you as their lawyer. So what can you do? What story can you tell in these videos to kind of allow the client to go through this journey of what it feels like to work with you? So what results are you going to produce for this client, right? So tell the story of what it feels like to be a client of this firm or represented by you or helped by you. So those are kind of the big ones.
Speaking of client experience, I am wondering if you have any particular feelings on client testimonial videos or how you can do them in a way that it's not just drama, this is what happened and they saved my life. Are there any other ways that they can be done besides the typical personal injury testimonial that I think of?
Yeah, it's funny because the first thing that came to mind was my friend Jim Hacking. He is an immigration attorney, and he actually does great. I don't know if he would consider them client testimonial videos, but he takes pictures with all his clients, and he does immigration. So usually it's a great result at the end, but he takes pictures, and I believe he's recorded video alongside his clients as soon as they walked out of a hearing or something like that. So if you don't want to just do a client testimonial video with just the client in there singing your praises, then jump in there with them. Stand next to your client as soon as you walk out of court or whenever you want to do it, and ask them about their experience. Have them describe what it felt like, again, to work with you and how happy they are to have received the result they did. And just let them sing your praises, because it's so rare that you find a client who's actually really happy with your work, even if you bend over backwards. So capture that on video as soon as you can. But I think if you're in the mix, if you're in the video with them, that makes it so much better.
So there are types of videos that are not trashable, like Facebook Live, or if you're using Periscope and on Twitter. I know you mentioned Mitch Jackson earlier, and he's a big proponent of live videos, especially Periscope on Twitter. So how does someone avoid kind of the pitfalls that can be associated with live video?
I'm glad you mentioned Mitch. It's such a good example of someone who's doing it right, of a lawyer who's amazing on video and live video. So hopefully your listeners go and check him out at streaming.lawyer. But some tips for live. So first, remembering that live video is more forgiving than recorded video. So it's okay if it's a little bit, if you're messing up, or if there are breaks in between, or if there's wind that's blowing your hair in your face, like that's okay. Because there's kind of a little voyeuristic element to live video where people who are tuning in actually want to see that. They want to see not that they want to see you mess up, but they want to see the fact that it's not perfect and not everything always works out as much as you try to control it. So remembering that it's more forgiving is the first thing. And then the same as with recorded video, with live, you need to prepare. Unless you're at like some kind of community event or at a bar association, you're speaking on a panel and you just want to record yourself live so people can watch it. All you need is a good tripod, as long as your hand isn't too shaky. Get a tripod, and that's really a great tip. Otherwise, preparation is key as well. So go into this live knowing what you want to talk about. If you're able to establish some kind of schedule where you know every Monday you would like to do this live video because you want to condition people to know that you're going to show up on Mondays and you want them to show up as well, start promoting it. Start letting people know that every Monday at 10, you are going to be on Facebook Live. The last thing to remember is that live video allows for engagement, and that's really important. You cannot ignore the people who are joining your live videos and asking questions or making comments. You can't ignore that, because the whole point of a live video is for people to join in on the fun and kind of make it feel like a party where you're actually talking to them directly and answering their questions, of course, without crossing any kind of ethical boundaries. But yeah, so engaging, that's probably the most important part of live video.
So this has been great. And I think a lot of what we've been thinking about are things that relate to earning trust, developing relationships, making people that might know you or see your videos more inclined to contact and hire you. What kind of tips do you have to improve the likelihood that a video might get shared, right? So what role do videos play, or what kind of tips can we think about in terms of getting more people to share your video or get it in front of a broader audience?
Yeah. So I think that you, as the lawyer who's recording these videos, in the video itself, either in the beginning or somewhere towards the end, you should full on just ask people to share it. After people watch your videos, they're looking for something to do, even if it's subconscious. So tell them, please share this video. And this applies for a live video as well. So asking, first of all, increases the chances of people actually doing it.
That's a huge tip, actually, because a lot of people that I've talked to will say things like, "Well, I don't even know if I could share this or if I'm allowed to share it." So that's a really good tip to make sure that you're encouraging your audience to actually share it. It seems obvious, but so many people forget to do it, and then people are reluctant to share.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think creating compelling content. So make it interesting and educational and something that people would want to share with their friends. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, and I know this is very hard to do, and for the most part, I don't know if you really can control it, but if you're able to create viral videos, so there's this lawyer in Texas called Brian Wilson.
Texas Law Hawk.
Yes, I love that you know him. So he sets out to intentionally create viral videos, and they do go viral. And he ended up like on a Super Bowl commercial or something. But his are really, really funny, really out there. He is a total spaz, but at the same time, because he can walk the walk, he can get away with it. But most lawyers can too. So creating content that people are talking about, maybe it's a little quirky, it's funny, you're doing something crazy in this video, or again, it's just so darn good that people want to share it. That's another thing. So create this content thinking that I want this to be the most valuable piece of content I've ever created. Think of that every time you create a video, and people will share it.
That's awesome. And then my last one that I asked a lot, and I wanted to get your take on is, if I don't have a ton of time and I'm going to focus on sharing to one spot, where do you tend to recommend? Have you seen a certain platform or certain communities perform better with video, or is it kind of more just go where your audience type of thing is?
Oh, yeah. I mean, is it like a cop-out answer if I say it's go where your audience is? It is.
Well, I think that's probably, there's some truth to that, right? That's kind of why I led that. But
Yeah.
I was kind of curious. I mean, I know you work with a lot of lawyers, have a lot of experience in video. If you had any insight into, if I'm just going to pick maybe like one or two, where should I start?
Yeah. So I think YouTube is obviously the biggest video platform. So definitely be there. Also, because it's the second largest search engine, you definitely want to be there because you're talking about legal stuff. That's where people are going to go for questions or for answers. But in terms of social media, so like the LinkedIn, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's going to vary. And you know what? I used to say go where your audience is. I feel like the audience is everywhere at this point. So maybe go with where you're having the most fun. So where do you enjoy, what platforms do you enjoy? For me, it's Instagram. For someone else, it could be LinkedIn. And luckily, all those platforms support video. So you can't go wrong as long as you're consistent. It's valuable. You're always showing up. Just pick one or two and go hard.
Nicole, thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us and share your incredible knowledge on all things video and really all things that people should be doing in their legal practice, which you know as a former practicing attorney, and now you've built an awesome company into.
Well, thank you so much to both of you for having me, for allowing me to come and speak to your listeners about video, because I love it. And I know they will too once they actually start doing it and seeing the results. And I want to invite anyone to just go and check out Abboud Media if they want more information, or follow me on Instagram, which is where I show behind the scenes of what I'm doing now that I'm no longer a lawyer and how I'm using video. And that's at Nick_Abboud, NIC_ABBOUD.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Nicole. Really appreciate it. And as always, please don't hesitate to send us your feedback, show ideas, or if you'd like to be a guest on Clienting, please don't hesitate to contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much.